Hey everyone, it's Gianna Lum at Convincing Crypto, where we keep you in the loop on all the latest trends and news on crypto and blockchain technology. Today, we have two very special guests on the show. We have the Project Sustainable ADA. So on their team, we have Cole today and Raz. So Cole and Raz, I want to know, how did you two get to know each other? What's your backstory? And how did you start your project?
It's funny how time flies. I had the great honor of meeting Cole back in the town hall in 2021. But coming into the blockchain space, for me, that journey began in 2009 when I discovered the Bitcoin white paper. I was studying in London at the time for a bachelor's in economic and social policy during the evenings and working full time as a project officer and basic ICT skills teacher for parents and their children. I'm not sure if you remember, but this was the financial crisis, the worst seen since the Great Depression. Whilst working in a special needs school for autistic individuals in Tower Hamlets, London, which also was an area with the highest levels of child poverty in the UK, I could literally see the power of technology, the potential for it to transform lives, and the importance to close the digital divide if we're actually going to have true sustainability and an equitable world. So that really inspired me to go deeper into the education sector. Um, Back in 2019, I was actually teaching a geography lesson on protecting the Amazon rainforest and was showing my students a video from The Economist. They had published a video about how blockchain could help protect the Amazon. And I remember at the end of the video, these 13-year-olds were all looking very puzzled about what blockchain was and how it actually works and how it could help protect nature and the Amazon. And being the teacher, I was also trying to address their questions, but had a lot of questions myself. So this inspired me to carry out more independent research. In 2020, I was teaching at the University Cergy Paris. I had a class on smart cities, and we were looking at all of the applications of tech for good, right? And I would always encourage my students to DYOR, do your own research. And inevitably, we would all come back together in class, and we had a very informal environment where they had carried out research and shared what they had found in terms of use cases, and blockchain would come up, and we would back and forth talk about what blockchain was, and many people had a lot of uh, misunderstandings. Most of the time, people believed it was just something for financial speculation, something used by criminals, and nobody before our class had any insights as to how it was actually used for positive impact in the world. So, having seen the journey of the class towards, oh, actually, there's so many brilliant examples around the world, that led us and myself to go deeper into Cardano. I'm sure it's the same for you. We all at some point watched videos by Charles Hoskinson and figure that this is something really incredible and that everyone should know about this. I remember seeing a post about Project Catalyst and how we could enter this town hall, and I jumped into one. I met so many inspiring individuals, and Cole was in that town hall as well. And we realized that we had this common vision, and we figured out that uh, there was a need to connect the dots between Cardano, blockchain, and sustainability. And we came together to build Sustainable ADA. And this is, been history in the making now. And here we are, right?
It's amazing that you were able to connect at a town hall like that. And where are you two based again? Because you're in two different parts of the world, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm based in Paris and London. So I'm in London currently.
And
Okay,
I'm based in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the United States.
nice. Yeah, and I like
Um,
how, yeah, these
sorry.
events for Cardano, they're just able to connect these people and you can see these commonalities of people who are using the blockchain for good. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story, Raz. I think it's really interesting. Some people come into this space, into the blockchain space through like gambling. Some people come as like a developer from the tech side, but you actually came in purely from utility and you saw the value to actually change the world for good with blockchain. So yeah, I just love hearing stories like that. Cole, do you want to
Yeah,
share your backstory and how that brought you to sustainable ADA?
of course. Yeah. So I actually got introduced to the blockchain space back in 2017, and around 2021, it's when I actually stumbled upon the Charles Hoskinson whiteboard video. And this is kind of really where my journey started. But I'd say a lot of this came from some of my past experiences. So I've had a lot of focus. I've kind of made a focus in my life to have my personal educational journey like enhanced a little bit. And through this, decided I wanted to create more clarity around blockchain's connection to sustainability as a whole. And I believe that blockchain is going to be kind of flourishing all over the entire space with tons of refi projects and different use cases that come up and will really help us kind of close the gap to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The SDGs are kind of a framework set out by the UN, and I think it's a really good way to kind of look at everything on a kind of similar basis. But yeah, so this passion really started with a love of the outdoors. I grew up in Vermont in the United States, and in my free time, I'd ski and fly fish and just get outside and enjoy nature. And during this time, I actually created a fly fishing brand with one of my best friends called VT Fishing. And our goal was really to kind of just share the sport that we loved, but also get more people interested in getting outside and being in the outdoors. And through this, I then went into my bachelor's degree at the University of New Hampshire, where I was focused on economics and sustainability. And I received a degree for both those programs. And I started my sustainability studies in New Zealand, actually, what was really cool. And there I was focused on ecology, policy, and just sustainability as a whole at this place called the EcoQuest Education Center. And from this background and love of the outdoors is kind of what brought me into the sustainability world as a whole. And this actually led me to then combine my economics degree and sustainability degree, and where I found a really strong passion for blockchain as well. And then from taking this dual major, I also had the opportunity to dip my toes into lots of other ideas like impact measurement, where I focused on the B impact assessment by what is one of the most rigorous assessments actually to track and trace impact. But yeah, so when I was finishing my senior year at the University of New Hampshire, was doing lots of free time research into blockchain and just its connections to sustainability as a whole. And um, what I had a problem with was kind of explaining these ideas to my friends or any colleagues at the time. And this kind of is really where a lot of the inspiration and um, my want to kind of jump into the blockchain space was to kind of clarify these ideas and show the world how this technology actually can make a difference and connect to sustainability. And in a way, this is part of how the idea of sustainable data was born as well. And like Raz said, actually, really kind of after this time, we met each other in the town hall in Catalyst Fund 4. And through this journey together, in the blockchain space, we really came together with a shared vision and mission of how this technology could be used to make the world a better place and a more equitable place for all. And through this, yeah, we've came together and started Sustainable ADA. And yeah, I really look forward to diving a little bit more into what Sustainable ADA is with all you.
Love that. Yeah, I came from a background in sustainability too, but I also saw that the Cardano community and the blockchain itself was one of the more sustainable ones and wanted to see the projects that were possible with blockchain to fight climate change and just have a cleaner, more sustainable world. So yeah, that brings us into the next question. What is sustainable ADA? What is your project? What are you doing?
Yeah, of course. Sustainable ADA started with a mission and vision to help people of all ages understand blockchain's connection to sustainability. And we started out with developing blockchain educational material that helped spotlight the unsung heroes in the space. Sustainable ADA represents a belief in Cardano's potential to pave a pathway towards a world where decentralized mechanisms of cooperation can begin to replace the traditional ecological degrading structures. And our flagship project was the Cardano Impact Report, where we showcase all of this positive impact generated by the Cardano community. This publication is more than just a report, it's a beacon of positive social change and a guide for those seeking alternatives to systems failing us today. So to guarantee the authenticity of and transparency of this report, we actually also created this report as an NFT as well. And also, as the Web3 space has evolved, we saw the need for sustainable ADA's migration into something we call Impact Web3. Impact Web3 is a company dedicated to using blockchain technology to create positive change and promote sustainability in the world. The company's various projects work together to create a comprehensive ecosystem and community that can help drive positive impact and sustainability initiatives forward. And yeah, I'll let Raz dive a little bit more
Yeah,
into our
go ahead and
project. And
congrats.
Thanks, Cole. So yeah, through Impact Web3, essentially, as we've seen the space evolve, there's a lot of talk, right, about solving real-world problems, and clearly Cardano is not the only blockchain and community who cares about doing that. So on this journey, we've decided to have Impact Web3 as our umbrella, our means to interconnect with all the blockchain for good projects across the ecosystem, whilst having, of course, a particular focus on Cardano as it is a leading blockchain for impact. We've been developing what we've called the Proof of Impact Platform, PIP, and Domino DAO, which are blockchain-powered solutions that aim to close the finance gap. So a lot of the time we talk about this need to deploy finance and capital to where it's most needed if we're going to tackle climate change, for instance. And annually, reports keep coming out telling us that climate finance is falling short of its targets and the commitments at the nation state level. So what we're aiming to do with PIP and Domino DAO is essentially close that climate finance gap by converting illiquid, unmonetized, and hard to measure NGO impact and impact organizations who are interested in measuring their impact and monetizing it, and converting this into purchasable liquid digital assets. So accompanying organizations on a digital transformation journey, tokenizing impact, and helping stakeholders to fundraise via art as activism. So just to summarize, so we have PIP, PIP, Proof of Impact Platform, a platform to track and trace our impact on the blockchain, connecting impact associations, NGOs, to opportunities which can accelerate their impactful activities on the ground. Domino DAO is a place to govern and employ a decentralized community for PIP, which in turn can create a community of impact evaluators and assessors, which is something we're really keen to expand upon when we talk about this idea of impact measurement. It's a very specialized skill, but on the flip side, if you talk about citizen science and all the reports and studies that show that indigenous communities, local communities are usually best placed to, solve the problems that are affecting them, if they're included in this process, if they're incentivized and able to make a sustainable livelihood out of this, we believe this is actually one of the futures when we talk about refi. So that's where Domino DAO has its vision. And not forgetting sustainable ADA, of course, with presenting quality education and research to help educate others and create a repository of reliable information in the Web3 space.
Right. Education is key. And I think we need more and more of that so people realize what is going on and they can benefit from Web3. I know we had talked
Yeah.
about in a previous conversation over Twitter, like data is great, having reports are great, and tracking things is great. But what's also more powerful is storytelling and sharing stories on how all these projects are making a difference in the real world. So I wanted to ask you, are there any impactful stories that you'd like to share on how blockchain technology is being used right now for good or projects that are currently in the works?
Yeah, definitely. And I couldn't agree with you more. Education is, like we say at Sustainable Ada, one of the most powerful weapons of them all, and really can be used to create the cascading disruption that Cardano is hoping to achieve, and we believe will achieve. But yeah, when looking at the stories, we have a lot of different stories from in the community, and in our Cardano Impact Report, we have actually over 65 individual stories of projects in the community making positive impact, both people and our planet. So, what is the Impact Report? The Cardano Impact Report is a book that highlights the positive social and environmental impact Cardano is having on communities and businesses around the world. From financial inclusion to environmental sustainability, we bring you on a journey to learn about the connections Cardano has to sustainable development and how Cardano is helping make positive di- helping make a positive difference in the world. Sorry. um, the book is also broken down into 8 different chapters, each focused on a unique aspect of the Cardano ecosystem and its impact. Thanks to the support of the Project Catalyst ecosystem, we are supporting Rimba, a French nonprofit who's working to protect people and the environment in West Sumatra in Indonesia. Our feasibility study for this project also aims to help them tackle illegal deforestation in Indonesia through a proof of impact NFT. And as Raz said before, art as activism. And this is a partnership between Sustainable Ada, Streets of Ada, and the Rimba NGO, who's an Indonesian and French based NGO. And yeah, that's kind of our thoughts on stories. And we do think that storytelling is one of the best ways to teach people about these different concepts and ideas. And that's kind of why we started with storytelling with Sustainable Data, and is how we've kind of been able to teach at least our community about these connections.
Is there anything else you want to add, Raz?
Yeah, actually, just thinking about storytelling, and I'm a dad. I have a 3-year-old, and I think in the day and age that we're living in, there's this idea of digital natives and youngsters who have grown up in a world where you have access to the internet and smartphones and this deluge of information, right? And studies have shown that there's a growing anxiety around how is the future going to look for young people, and when we talk about what needs to be done. So when I think about this technology and its potential for real world impact, for us working with non-profits and community groups who generally don't have the insights to how this tech works, right? Because they're kind of just focused on their mission. And they also have this challenge of how to communicate to an international audience what it is they're trying to achieve. So using storytelling in the blockchain world, in this sector, it doesn't have to be seen as just a marketing ploy, because at the end of the day, the whole point of this tech was to bring trust back, right? This whole thing of trust in code. And studies again keep showing that when we talk about our legacy institutions, it's increasingly the case that people have less and less trust in governments and so-called experts. So how do you how do you address that? Having data alone isn't enough, right? So you need both. You need the means to touch people emotionally, to have it resonate with people, but you also need to be able to scratch beneath that surface and realize there's evidence behind what's being claimed. and that's been a growing problem in the space of the giving world, philanthropy, aid. This unfortunate misuse of funding, where you realize that all the donations given, for instance, to some NGOs are not necessarily having maximum and optimal impact for the beneficiaries that are supposed to be um, helped. So this is our mission, to bring these tools to people who are doing good work already and need more help. And I think their stories will speak for themselves as we help to amplify their message. And it's already happening in the Cardano community. Some documentaries have come out now with WADA, for instance, and I believe the power of film and storytelling is one of the keys to getting mass adoption if we want the world to benefit from what's actually here today.
Yeah, so anyone who hasn't checked out their movie yet, it's WADA, right?
Yes, Chasing
Film.
the WADA Dream. It was shown actually at a screening in Las Vegas
Ooh.
not so long ago for the NFT XLV conference. And yeah, Peter Smelik had the great opportunity to meet him when he came to London, and he was interviewing the team here, Josh Fielding from the WADA team. And actually, Mercy was one of the first who I met as I made my journey into this community, and her storytelling, her own personal journey inspired me. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we're all here, because when we share our stories, we realize that we're not alone in this fight for a better world. I use the word fight because it is a fight.
Yes.
It's not happening on its own, and you don't have to you just turn the TV on, right, and you already see the horrors that's happening right now. So I think it couldn't come any sooner. This need for hope, and we say inspiring hope through action, because hope alone is not enough. You need
You need
action too. So
action. You need to back that with action. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why we do conversations like this on the YouTube channel too. And I know stories like yours are going to inspire more people to keep fighting for a better world. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I want to go on to our next question now. What do you think is needed for the future of sustainability in the blockchain space? I'm in both worlds. I'm in the blockchain space, but I'm very much in the sustainability space as well. And I know a lot of people in climate and sustainability have been skeptical now of blockchain projects. Maybe they don't know about other blockchains too, and they only know maybe of Bitcoin and how energy intensive that is. At the same time, people in blockchain, not everyone's willing to talk about sustainability, and they're just focused on their own projects. So yeah, what do you think is needed for a merge of these two things? You are sustainable, Ada.
There needs to be a collaboration between top down and bottom up approaches. So, for instance, right now you have regulators scrambling to understand the space, to produce a taxonomy and framework of understanding what crypto is, the different types, the different protocols, and which ones are green, and how do you define that, right? Because anyone can say we're a green blockchain or a sustainable project, and actually where's the evidence, and how do you incentivize companies and stakeholders to act with integrity? Because if there's no punition to deter people from lying and greenwashing, then we're just going to replicate the errors of our current status quo system. So if we want this blockchain sustainability space to be better and improve, then we need that. And I think we're moving in that direction, at least from the EU front, with some of the regulations that are in process right now. But on the other hand, we have an unprecedented ecological crisis, and the blockchain space is actually well positioned to take proactive steps to be a part of the solution. That's the opportunity here. We have no country on track to achieving all 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. A report came out recently by the Forest Declaration Assessment, which said that we are currently off track to a targeted zero deforestation by 2030. And one of the things I remember about the Cardano Global Impact Challenge was its partnership with Veritree and Cardano trees to catalyze the community to support this idea of using blockchain for good. And we had 1 million trees thanks to the donations of the community of ADA holders. So you have that on one hand, but meanwhile, not so long away, we have the annual conference in Dubai, COP, where world leaders discuss targets and pathways to a climate-friendly and healthy planet for all. But going back to what we said earlier, right? Talk's not enough. Planning is only part of the solution. And I believe Cardano offers a blueprint for sustainable blockchain practices. And as Cole mentioned, the Cardano Impact Report, we believe, is our call to action to inspire people to see who's doing what, how you can get involved. And as Malcolm X once said, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So with blockchain, we can lay a foundation for transparent and accountable value chains to pave the way for a more sustainable and equitable world. But it's up to us. It's up to everyone. It's not going to happen on its own.
Cole, do you want to add anything or?
Yeah, adding on to that, yeah, I think for the future of sustainability in the blockchain space, we really need a lot of collaboration, and I think a mindset across all these different chains has to be a mindset of a cross-chain blockchain ecosystem where these different chains are working with one another and supporting one another. And I think that is really how the space could flourish. We also need to minimize like lots of the scams and increase regulations and things that can kind of protect the consumers and the users. But I do think that um, this digital economy and all these really good pros to the blockchain space can really help enhance our global society as a whole. And I think with that collaboration and with that supporting of one another, that is really how we can get towards that point. I also believe that I think more funding should also be kind of given towards the impact projects in the blockchain space or the sustainability focused projects, you could call them as well. I think this could help us, one, scale positive impact on a major level, but also I think it could increase the ability to closing that gap of achieving the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And with our impact report, we just planted a seed for the world to see the opportunities blockchain can present and to help solve these global issues. And we hope from this seed we planted, we can create cascading disruption and a ripple effect that goes across the entire industry as a whole.
Definitely, and I agree that there needs to be more funding for projects like these and projects with impact, but it also is up to the community because it is a decentralized community. So this just needs to be a culture that is created where people really want to put their money where their mouth is, basically. So I want to close by asking, how can we support you as a community and keep your project going?
Thank you, Gianna. For one, supporting the Cardano Impact Report means championing a vision for a sustainable blockchain ecosystem. And you talked about culture, and it reminded me of what we presented in the report. This idea of values. How do we value the world, ourselves? That's something that can get taken for granted, and I think that's actually the essence of it all. So valuing the natural world in only a profit prism is what's got us to where we are today. And we need to support the projects, the teams who are trying to reinvent and go through that paradigm shift, because it's needed. Otherwise, we won't have this sustainable, healthy planet for all for much longer. And I don't mean to be alarmist, but it really is about putting money where the mouth is, because it's been time and time again said that all the global commitments being made by governments about how much is needed to pave the way towards a climate-friendly world, the stats are there. So let's do it now. So yeah, engaging with our report, will help people to learn from the success stories, the case studies, the best practices from the Cardano community, the Singularity Net ecosystem. We invite anyone who cares to collaborate with us, contribute to this ever evolving knowledge base. It's a rapidly evolving space, as you know, and things can very quickly become out of date, and we can't possibly alone keep up to date on everything. So I think this community needs to help one another with exchanging good stories, inspiring stories. So our report actually is not just a one-time publication. It's aimed to be a dynamic resource to foster collaboration and innovation within the Cardano community and beyond. So any help really to amplify this message is welcomed. You can join our community and help play an instrumental role to reshape the narrative around blockchain and sustainability. So we have the true message put forth. So yeah, I invite everyone to follow us, to keep up to date with our forthcoming mints. So we talked about proof of impact, right? And artist activism NFTs. They'll be coming very soon, that we're developing in partnership with Streets of Ada and the Rimba nonprofit organization in Indonesia and the Palawan NGO network in the Philippines, who are our two initial partners for these artist activism proof of impact NFTs. So thank you so much, Gianna, for bringing us here today to have a conversation with you. And I hope the viewers and everyone out there who may watch this and listen, please reach out to us and join us on this mission.
I'll link all of their info down below in the description too. So if you want to learn more or reach out to either Raz or Cole, I'll definitely make sure that you can get in touch and share with them.
Yeah, no, just supporting our impact report really can help us, like we said before, create and scale our impact. And it's not a small publication; it's quite a big. If you can see it right here, um, and it would really help us with the future editions and kind of keep updating this information and getting out to as many people as possible. So yeah, we planted the seed, and now it's up to all of us to come together and use this knowledge for creating a better world for all.
Amazing. Yeah, let's make this a whole forest of knowledge and keep those seeds going. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That's it for us today. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Feel free to share this with your friends if you want this content, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.